So welcome to the August 25th, 2021 West Springfield Conservation Commission meeting. Due to an unfortunate set of circumstances, we are lacking quorum, so we're going to discuss some of items that don't require a vote, but at least won't take up people's time. So we're going to take some items out of the agenda. There was a hearing scheduled for 6 o'clock, and that will be opened at the time that the chair arrives and we have a quorum.
Maybe that's him.
Sorry. I just opened your meeting, so. All right, so as I said, we had a 6 o'clock scheduled public hearing for 330-0383, 120 Interstate Drive for Maverick Media. We're going to open that when the chair arrives and we have a quorum, so that would be probably closer to 6:30. So other items on the agenda are, we had an enforcement order that I think we can discuss informally against Mr. Ross, who owns property off of Belknap Ave. And I sent around an email that Mr. Ross wrote, and so I'd like to, unless other people have questions, have Mr. Ross let us know what his plan is to comply with the order. Because you had some changes to what we'd asked. Because I didn't get a plan for the 23rd. So
yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of...
I think you have to come up to the mic. Sorry.
I've been trying to get hold of this girl, Heather. John Weiss got me in touch, and I called her twice. She finally got back to me today. She called. I'm in the middle of work, so I didn't have my phone on me. And I call her back, and she hasn't gotten back to me again. So
you don't have
I've
a
had
time
trouble.
frame? Do you know what time frame you think for her to get involved in your issue? Or?
I'm going to call again tomorrow.
Okay.
But she's been bad with the phone. She hasn't gotten back to me at all until
she's
today.
hard to get a hold. I think it's Heather Comey you're thinking of. And she's hard to get a hold of. So you might want to, if she's not available, you might have to look at somebody else.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? So what was outlined in the enforcement was, let me look at the, was to stop doing what you're doing. I did visit the site today, and some of the piles of stuff are still there and haven't been moved, so I don't know if you're still operating out of there or not.
I started removing the stone out of there, and I got 3/4 of the pile out of there, and my buddy wants the rest, so this weekend I'm getting rid of the rest of that.
And the soil in the back?
And one thing I had a question about with everything, because I looked at the maps and everything, the wetlands buffers, I didn't even know my property had any wetlands to begin with. So,
right.
And that whole drainage ditch that's there, that's been there for 16 years.
The idea though is you can't dredge it without a permit.
When the town dumped all that asphalt down there, that's when they put that in there. So, for obvious water issues, because when we get a lot of rain, the water's got to go somewhere, so it's going to end up on my property.
Right,
So
but you still would need a permit. I mean, it's been at least 13 years that's been that situation, so.
So
Prior
I
to
didn't dredge it out, so I didn't do that.
Yes, but do you know who did?
Yes, I do know who did it.
Okay.
So
Do you
I
care?
didn't do it, but
But you're responsible as the property owner,
so
unfortunately.
but they started removing the stone, got my equipment, out of there and stuff. And the other piles I haven't touched yet, because I am curious to know that where the buffer is on the map is nowhere near those piles. So wetland
So
buffer.
where the wetland is 100 feet out.
yeah, and
So all those
30
piles,
yards is basically 100 feet, and those piles are they're way farther than the buffer zone.
Now, the
on
brook
the
goes
map.
under the railroad there, and right where that brook is,
Isn't that
those
just
piles are right
runoff?
next to it.
Isn't that just a runoff for water?
Doesn't matter, it's a wetland, and that's considered a wetland. That's intermittent flow, and it's covered by the Wetlands Protection Act. So you need to remove those piles or cover them somehow, or protect them with some type of a straw bale around the base.
All right, so if I just put straw around them, they're fine then?
You just don't want the soil to erode into the brook, because if it does, then you got bigger problems.
All right.
So you might be better off removing it, throw a tarp over it, anything that, either of those would probably work.
All right, that's fine.
And then, getting the equipment out and getting anything and not doing any more work until you get your consultant on board. So what are you thinking time-wise?
Oh, what, for the girl?
Yeah, well, or just getting us a plan of what you want to do.
I wanted to talk to Heather. That was the main plan, and it's been tough John got me here, so I'm going to call John again and ask him if she doesn't work, then he can get me someone else, so.
Okay, so
That's the main plan.
what do you commissioners want to do? How much time do you want to give it? Because we can you can't ratify this because you don't have a quorum, but if you discuss it, that would give Mr. Ross the ability, he can stay or he can go, but at least we know how you're going to amend this.
When's the next meeting?
Next meeting is, I think, September,
8?
no, I think it's the 15th. Check. Sorry.
Oh, yes. No, yes. No, what? No.
September
no, it is-
22nd.
September, that's a long way away.
The next meeting, so the first Wednesday is the first, you're right, the 8th. Here you go. So that would be the next meeting.
How about the
At the
20th?
meeting after that would be on the 22nd. So is that enough time, you think? To get us a plan?
22nd?
22nd?
Yeah, that's plenty of time. I'm going to call Heather back tomorrow, and I've been trying to get a hold of her, and the one time she calls me back, I didn't have my phone because I was working, and I
But
called her back
your
right
equipment,
after.
you said you found a place, so you're going to have,
Yes, in
when's that
Westfield.
out of there
Yes,
completely?
I found a place in Westfield this weekend. Everything is, because of the weather, I've been working like a dog. I work every day.
When do you think you'll be done parking up on Belknap?
Everything's going to be gone. I mean, the only thing down there is a trailer right now. That's it. My truck's gone, my other trailer's gone,
So just cover the piles for now, leave everything as is, get a hold of Heather, or whoever you're going to use,
All right.
and get us a plan by the 22nd, and then they'll amend it. Formally, you can stick around for the meeting when they open up the formal part if you want, or you can, just come back on the 22nd. What do you guys feel?
Yeah, with the plan from whomever you hire as a wetland consultant.
All right, so just,
Yeah.
once I figure that out, then.
Yeah, so they'll extend it to the 22nd, and before they do anything else, so. And then where else was? So
Just
once
make
we
sure-
have a plan, we'll know better what you're,
If you're not going to use Heather and you're going to go with somebody else, I would recommend that you consult with Mark.
yeah, I sent John a list of consultants that have been in front of the commission before, so hopefully he can work with you to find somebody.
Yeah. And as far as the drainage thing goes, do you know just what to do with that? I mean.
Well, the drainage is a wetland, so you can't do anything to it
so
without
all right.
permission. So you need a plan, and usually, under our regulations, you want to avoid doing anything to the wetland. Buffer's one thing, so outside of it, so where the pile is, that's considered the buffer. So there's a lot more leeway, but once you're in a wetland, that's pretty much a no-no, and you have to have very good plans of what you're doing.
All right, Heather will let me know then.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
all righty.
All right, so that's how I'll recommend, the commission's going to recommend to extend the time period for your response to the 22nd of September, is that correct?
Yes.
And go from there. So they'll formally vote that
All
tonight
right.
and ratify the rest of the enforcement.
All
Okay?
right. So like I said, this weekend, all my stuff's going to be in Westfield, and then I'm removing the rest of that pile of stone that's going to a friend, so I don't
All
want
right.
to just get rid of it, so he wanted it, so I'm going to give it to him,
Okay,
so, and then I'll cover up the piles,
all right. And then
the other
I'll,
ones.
and then, as I said, they'll vote on it formally to ratify the order with that change, extending it to the 22nd.
All right,
Okay?
all righty.
Is that good with you?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So on other business does not require any real quorum is I'm pleased to report that the pool property was purchased on the 12th of August. 12th of August, yeah, 12th of August, closed. And that she is currently considering, the city council gave the mayor permission to accept another piece from her on the opposite side of the street, which is about 27 acres, that she's considering donating. And once she gets that done, so we'll end up with the 55 plus or minus acres on the west side of Bernie and the 27 acres on the east side of Bernie as part of the conservation land. So-
Is that the part that's prior to the raised ranch on the right?
So, yeah, the red one that's owned by Sheehan, that property is, the property to the left is the piece we bought.
Right, but
The
across
piece
the street.
Across the street is her property that she's gonna donate, we believe. It hasn't happened, but it'll happen soon, I'm sure. So,
Congratulations.
well, thank you.
Yes,
A lot of work.
a job well done.
Thank you. Just informational, this would take, there's a culvert on Bernie Ave that crosses under it. There's been some subsidence of the road, and they're concerned. So I may need to grab one of you to sign a temporary order that's good for 30 days for the city to explore. Apparently, there's a 22-inch by 36-inch culvert that goes under Bernie, and nobody can find it. It's not there. It's not exposed. So if it's there, it's under sediment. So they're going to dig in, and they're going to get us a plan before they do it. And then we can issue an order. They're good for 30 days. At least then they can explore and assess what the issues are out there. And then my guess is they'll come back after the temporary fix with a notice of intent for repairing it. So, that takes,
Do you have a time frame? Do they have a time frame?
probably within the next week. It's just they've been trying to figure out with contractors and vacations and times and stuff like that, and lack of rain or hurricanes, that when they could best do it. So that usually only takes one commissioner. If others are around, that's fine. I'll prepare the order, and then you guys can issue it, and then you'll ratify it at your meeting on the 8th. My guess is it will be before then. And then just updating you on the forest cutting plan. I don't know if you saw my email about Bear Hole Road. I've made comments, and I got a response from the state forester who said they were going to amend their plan, and they're going to use either what they call corduroy to cross the wetland or do it in frozen conditions. So I still think the commission should send a formal letter, and I'll prepare the letter, but I can't have you vote on it until you're in quorum.
I agree.
So I'll send it out, and we can discuss that when Kevin's here. I think that's all I've got for other business. Oh, there is going to be it was raised, the mask mandate. Commission members are considered town employees, so the mask, like, as long as you're vaccinated, you'll be able to come to the meeting and not wear a mask. But if you feel more comfortable, you can wear it coming into the building and out of the building. Okay. And that,
Kevin's coming right now.
he's coming right now. Okay, here we go. Enough listening to me.
You ready for me?
Yes,
All right. Wow, 2 microphones, huh?
yeah. apparently.
All right. I'm really sorry, everybody. Something sprung on me late there at work, and it messed up my whole evening. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. Mark, have we opened the hearing and done our minutes and other items?
No, because I couldn't open the hearing. I did we informally discussed the enforcement order, which you'll have to ratify. We've got kind of an agreement with the applicant or the person subject to the order to extend his time frame to get us a plan. And then we also discussed some of the other items on the bottom of the agenda, which aren't really requiring action. And then, so it's just opening the meeting, which you have here, actually.
Yeah, I've got hold on a sec, I've got some
I've got,
conditions here. I've got an NOI.
Yeah, I didn't bring down but you can read that, open it.
Oh, have we even gone
Legal.
live?
Yes.
Oh, we
Yes,
are,
we are.
okay, good. All right, so we're kind of going backwards here. All right, that's my fault.
Yes, we're
That's
going
all right.
backwards.
And do I have the hearing notice, Mark?
No, but I'm opening it now and you'll have it.
All right, you'll find it.
Jeff, you can turn on your screen and it'll.
Yeah? All right. All right, so let's get rolling then. I will do I'll do our introductory statement, then we can do the agenda, any past minutes, public participation, and right to the NOI, okay? All right, wow. The August 25th, 2021 meeting of the West Springfield Conservation Commission is hereby called to order, a little late at 6:25. Welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the West Springfield Conservation Commission. I'm Kevin Cote, Chairman. I'll be presiding over the meeting tonight. In accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, I must announce anyone intending to tape the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide his or her name and address for the record. The Conservation Commission is videotaping tonight's meeting, and it's being shown live on cable access television and other computer application and social media platforms. We inform those present that any document that is to be considered or discussed must be made part of the record of the meeting, and an original or a copy should be submitted to the committee before there'll be any discussion on it, and that would include photos, plans, letters, and the like. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend, and I'm going to give each commissioner an opportunity to identify themselves for the public and the record, starting with Judy.
Danny Hanush.
Melissa Henson.
That's Mark Noonan, our conservation agent, and again, I'm Kevin Cote, the chair. Procedures will be following during the meeting. Project reps will make their presentations. Commission and staff will ask questions, and then questions will be taken from the public. All right, let's get started. Folks, have you had a chance to review the agenda, and do we have a motion to accept?
What's
Are
that?
you on?
Kevin?
I'm sorry.
I don't know, somebody has a question.
You are recording? Oh, okay, great.
You just get identity. And-
Then we don't have a clerk anymore. We lost.
No, but you might want to get her to state her name and stuff, just so you have it for the.
Yeah, so since you're recording, just make sure that you get your name and information to Mark, and that way we have it for the record.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
assume you're from the record, is that? Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Okay.
so motion to accept the agenda as written?
I move to motion. Oh my God, I
So
move to
moved.
accept
There you go.
the motion. Oh, forget it. Oh my God.
All right, Melissa moved to accept the agenda as written.
Second.
Danny seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Pass on a voice vote. All right, past minutes?
None.
None to review. We lost Monique, so we don't have any past minutes. Any items on the agenda not raised by the public? No. All right, moving on. We have a notice of intent for 330-0383, 120 Interstate Drive. Notice is hereby given under the provisions of MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act. A public hearing will be held on Wednesday, August 25th, 2021, at 6:30, regarding a notice of intent submitted by R. Levesque & Associates Incorporated on behalf of Maverick Media LLC for proposed work to erect an electronic billboard on property located at 120 Interstate Drive, which is owned by Burnham Realty. The proposed work is located within the riverfront resource area of Schoolhouse Brook. In addition to the publication of this legal notice in the West Springfield Record, it will be posted on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website, and the meeting will be held here in the Justin Morgan Auditorium on the second floor of the Municipal Office Building, 26 Central Street. So, project proponent, please give us a presentation.
So just for a wrinkle, that he's going to do his presentation, and then you have to do your certificate of compliance on 198 prior to, if you're going to issue an order on this, you're going to have to.
We have to,
do that first, so.
all right, so we may have a COC to slide in before we,
Yeah, but he can do his presentation.
all right, well, let's do that then.
So you want me to do the presentation
Yeah,
for
do the
the notice?
presentation first,
And then we'll
do the
take
other.
them out of order, okay.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's really about action.
Sure. I'm just trying to pull up the plan here.
Now, when he's pulling these documents up on the display, are we getting this on camera or are we seeing?
I think they're getting it on camera, you're seeing it on your screen.
Okay, there, they switched the camera, perfect. I can, yep, I got it all set up. All right, so if you would,
Okay.
your name and for the record and all that good stuff, and then we get going.
Sure. Let me just pull up my application here.
He's got it in his file.
Yeah. All right. For the record, my name is Philippe Crevo of our Levesque Associates, here tonight representing the applicant Maverick Media LLC for proposed work in the riverfront area at 120 Interstate Drive. Essentially, a notice of intent was filed for this project in order to mitigate for disturbance associated with a new billboard on the property that will be sort of visible off of Interstate 91. The base of that billboard is located outside the 100-foot, but within the 200-foot to Schoolhouse Brook, which runs north to south adjacent to the property line towards the east and in between the property and Interstate 91. So basically there is going to be about 774 square feet of permanent disturbance associated with the billboard base. So that's going to be permanent. And then about 1,100 square feet or 1,200 square feet of temporary disturbance in order to gain access to the, I guess, the base of the billboard area to erect the structure. And that is, you can see that here on the plan. So basically, there's an existing building on the property. It's been there for a very long time. There's an adjacent parking lot up here. The proposed billboard is this block that you see here. That rectangle below it is the sort of the base. The circle in the middle is the pole of the billboard, and then this will be your construction, and then the silt fence line around it is the temporary disturbance. So basically, when all is said and done, you're just going to have that base, that concrete base with the pole or the billboard pole. Now, due to some work that was done by the owner, separate from the applicant, this was done by the owner at a previous time. There was a number of trees identified along the property line here that were hanging over the property. Those trees were taken down, and in an effort to replace the vegetated cover that was lost, we are proposing to replant trees in generally the same location along the rear property line. So there's 8 new trees here. And then also associated with an improvement over existing conditions is additional native plantings in the 100-foot buffer and also the inner riparian zone off the northeast corner of the property here. So that's the new vegetation. These trees here are to replace, to mitigate for some work that was done by the owner. We do have a DEP file number. There was a number of comments that was made by Mark Stinson, the peer reviewer over at DEP. So we can go through those one by one, or we can sort of take things out of order and discuss the order of conditions that's currently open on the property, and which will need a certificate of compliance in order to issue a new order of conditions on the property. So however the commission would like to handle that, I can try and address any questions that you may have, but that's basically the project. A billboard, disturbance for a new billboard on the property, in a currently just a grassed area. There's no necessary tree removal or anything like that. Right now, this is all grass, right? So just for reference.
Okay, a few questions. So
Sure.
we've got wetlands where the stream is, right? And then we have the riverfront area as well, right?
Correct. So these buffer zones are associated. This is the 200, this is the 100, and then wetlands up here and I believe this, I can zoom in.
Okay, so we're outside the 100-foot wetland buffer.
Correct.
And it looks like we're just outside of the 100-foot riparian?
Correct. We wanted to get, as close to it, but not be in it with the permanent disturbance
A
below.
little overhang with the sign or not?
The sign, based on this block, it looks like it's overhanging a little bit, but that's way up, way up in the,
And the
In the
bird
sky.
habitat.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha, okay. So the temporary disturbance area will stay outside of that, and then once it's, the
correct.
permanent disturbance area would be a little bit further, a little bit.
Yeah, a
further.
little bit further here with this base.
Got it. All right, so the tree planting, that's coming in because of some past work. I mean, was that a previous enforcement order, Mark? Did we had?
No, it kind of, it was trying to, sort of more verbal. We were trying to, I worked with Ryan Nelson of Levesque's office and identified when they did it and said, look, they're cutting trees, we need to address this, and held back on doing a formal enforcement order. So they're picking up that in this, and then I assume you're picking up some type of mitigation because of riverfront disturbance as well.
Correct. So these trees are part of the mitigation for the trees that were taken down, the trees along the property line here. And then these trees, these plantings back here are for the improvement, the qualification that there is an improvement over existing conditions under one of the comments from DEP. And as well as, riverfront area, new construction in riverfront area.
Mark?
I just have an obvious question. You're in the easement for either a sewer line or a water line, I don't know which. Is that compatible or not?
Oh, within the easement?
Yeah, I didn't know what
Trees.
you're planting, so
Yeah.
depending on what you're planting.
Yeah, these are aspen trees. If there's,
They're not gonna go find the water line.
no, they're not, we could move them off of the easement. There's a 20-foot sewer easement along the
Oh,
one
it's sewer.
here,
Okay.
and I'm not sure if
That was
there's a
water, but maybe it's sewer.
sewer easement here. I'm not sure if there's actually a sewer line in here. It looks like there's a sewer line here. We can clarify, and if we do need to move the vegetation out of the sewer easement, we can just, cluster it in the 100-foot, maintain it inside the 100-foot riparian zone up in this area here.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the issue.
Yeah, because you
further
certainly
down.
don't want trees
Right.
over your sewer line.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. If they're small,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah, if there's shrubby stuff, that's fine, but if you don't want something with roots that go, tap roots that go
Yeah,
straight
we
down.
don't want that. Commissioners, questions? Melissa?
It was my understanding that originally that the pole was going to be outside of any
Correct.
jurisdiction. So where was it originally going to be and why is it not there?
So the pole was originally outside to avoid, obviously, try and avoid conservation impacts. The pole was going to be towards Interstate Drive here. The applicant had then done some, whatever they do, visual readings, sightline distances from Interstate 91, and just found that, I guess there's some sort of time, you want a certain length of time that people can see the billboard, and that they couldn't achieve what they were trying to get with their billboard that far away from Interstate 91, so they want to move it closer so that they can get that time.
Judy, Danny, additional comments, questions?
Not really. I appreciate that they stayed outside the 100-foot buffer. And I don't have much else other than that. Looks good.
What type of equipment are you going to be using?
I'm not 100%, but just knowing it's probably an excavator to dig out the foundations, dig I'm pretty sure there's an extensive foundation, as you can see, to hold the billboard down, and then probably some sort of crane that they would have to probably park farther away anyways in that parking lot, that adjacent parking lot, to sort of swing the pieces into place. nothing that's gonna rut out down beyond the billboard.
Judy?
When it needs maintenance, how will it be maintained? I mean, is it easy, is it going to be
Yeah, so
disruptive?
it's going to be it's readily accessible, so it's not like, super far away from anything. There's the existing parking lot's right there, directly adjacent to it. So they would probably park in the parking lot and then just climb up some ladder mechanism to get up to the top of the
Okay.
billboard.
When would this be done, like as soon as possible? You
So
wanna
they're still in the permitting process. There's a number of different permits, but they're still on the part of something to do with the highway, the Mass DOT. So they're still working on a permit from them. They expect that later in September. And then, once they receive that, they would still have to come back to West Springfield for a building permit. So this is basically one in a number of permits that they need in order to start construction.
Okay.
I would anticipate, once they have all the permits, if they can start right away, they would.
I know this is not in a residential area, but I was concerned about the light in the surrounding area, because it's been shown that it affects wildlife in the area. But I thought I read something about some kind of buffer you guys were going to do for the lights, it wouldn't be as bright.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure
Okay.
about lighting. I know that typically these are upcast lights, so they're not pointing down at the ground, they're facing up at the billboard.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Oh, remember, this is an electronic billboard, so there's
Oh,
no,
yeah.
there's really no lights. There are lights from within it
Right.
coming out.
Okay.
I don't know what's on it. Is it high enough for FAA?
Those are all the types of permits that they're working through right now, but it's not.
So
I mean,
if there's
a
that,
number
it
of
would need a
billboards
light.
on 91, so I wouldn't expect it to be super.
What did you,
Well, if FAA requires it, there's some type of beacon that's required if it's FAA. But it may be lower than that. I don't know what
Yeah.
that level is.
Yeah, I don't think it reaches that high,
Okay.
but
Do we know what sorry, do you know
Go.
what the bottom of the billboard height is? Because
The-
I
oh.
did notice when I was standing there's trees on 91. Are we going to be seeing trees getting cut down again?
I don't know that exactly, but they might have added it to the narrative. Let me just triple check the narrative, because I don't remember reading that.
I guess
No,
the same
but
idea, though.
It
is
has been, Mark, as you know, this has gone through all the special permit process already, so they must have,
Yeah,
they
it
must
looks
have
like you
stated
may have to
it.
go back because you
Yeah.
moved it, but to that, that's at least my understanding from the planner. But
and who handles the special permit process?
Alice, on behalf of the planning board.
Okay.
Yeah, so my understanding from talking to Allison is that because the site moved, it's going to have to be amended. I don't think it's a big deal, but I think you have to go back.
I mean, I'm kind of uncomfortable voting on something if they have the
Well,
special
yeah,
permit.
so you have a different regulation, so yours are related to the wetlands and not to a special permit, so it doesn't matter what the planning board does.
Yeah, our main piece
understand.
of jurisdiction here, right, is we are in Riverfront,
I understand.
and we have,
I mean, if you said the birds or something were concerned, that's one thing,
Well-
but, you know, that's, but special permit has nothing to do with conservation rules.
Well, I was looking to see if there was anything required by natural heritage, and,
they indicated
It's not
there
in the
was
policy.
It's
not.
not in a polygon.
okay.
Yeah, they indicated up front that that was not in that polygon.
Do you want to go through DEP's comments? Because they probably raised some issues.
Yeah, we can go through one, actually, I'll pull them up.
If you could bring them up on the
Yeah,
screen, that would be
yeah.
great, thank you.
See if I can zoom in.
Oh, very nice. This is very nice.
So this is for Maverick Media, 120 Interstate Drive, DP file number 330-0383. So we can just jump down to the numbers. Number 1, Schoolhouse Brook is a cold water fishery resource preventing sediment from entering the water, and maintaining and/or increasing shading of the water column is important to protecting this valuable resource. Cold water streams and rivers are critical habitat for a variety of fish, including rare American brook lamprey, long-nosed sucker, lake chub, and recreationally important brook trout species. Any improvements over existing conditions should focus on the addition of appropriate vegetation near the stream to extend the width of native vegetation along the riparian corridor. So that's where, if we go back to the plan,
That's the trees.
we were adding, so these trees were being replaced, and then we were adding some natural, some additional vegetation up here. But, you know, we'll double check and
I mean,
triple check
maybe you
for
can
the
get
sewer
as close
easement.
as you can to the
Yeah, as
brook.
close as we can. I mean, the fact that there's a sewer easement there, it's going to have to stay clear for maintenance purposes of that sewer, if there is a sewer in there. So, number 2, what is the previous wetlands permitting history of the property? The parking area noted on the plans did not exist in 97 per aerial photos and per the plan, so it's located in the riverfront area. The 2005 color and infrared images suggest the presence of hydric soils in the northeast corner of the subject lot. Has that area been filled in or graded? We don't have any information as in regard to previous permitting of the property. What we do have is an order of conditions that is currently still open on the property. But I believe Ryan was attempting to find the plan associated with that, but was not able to.
This was with that order.
Yeah.
So I found,
So you found
actually, it seemed to print it up on sides, so.
Yep. Okay,
So it doesn't appear that it was a wetland, at least from what I can see.
correct. This does not appear.
So
So, they had to issue an order for work within jurisdictional area, so I'm sure.
And the parking lot does show, but I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the same.
Oh, yeah, I've got this one
Oh,
here.
you got it, okay.
Yep.
To me, it's the same, but maybe I'm wrong.
And this, I believe, was for a cell
Sorry.
phone tower,
That's
correct?
the interstate, and this is the highway.
Mark, question about, was this for solar power?
Oh, there it is.
No,
It's-
this was
It's
for
off
the,
the property.
Cell tower.
Cell tower.
It's a cell tower, yeah. So the wetland's off the property on the other side of where it says Commonwealth of
Yeah, they're
Massachusetts
similar
Route
to
9.
where you marked them.
Yep, so we do have that order of conditions, and now we have a plan, which we didn't have this plan
You didn't
until
have it?
just
Oh,
now.
sorry. I looked around, I found it today.
Yeah, so
Well, you didn't do it.
that's the discussion item on the next,
Right.
for the next item.
Yeah, I looked at it, it seemed to be in compliance, but we'll
Um,
talk about that when we,
Yeah, so I guess we can
Get there,
discuss that when we talk about the next one. Number 3, the work in the riverfront has been submitted under the new development section of the regulations per 310 CMR 1058-4. The commission, using its discretion, may require that the work be submitted as redevelopment, as there appears to be degraded area in 96 and is degraded now. The regulatory language found at 310 CMR 1058-4D1 states may allow, not shall allow, for work for riverfront redevelopment at a minimum. Proposed work shall result in an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area to protect the interests identified in MGL 13140. Acceptable improvements include but are not limited to 1, significant net reduction of impervious surfaces, 2, planting of indigenous plant species, 3, providing stormwater management demonstrably in excess of what is required per 1005-6K through Q. Number 4, removal and proper disposal of noxious but otherwise illegally located materials. So I guess this one comes back to the plantings of the inner riparian zone here. And, we'd be open to adding more plantings if that's what the commission, deems is necessary to show an improvement over existing conditions. Right now, we have this cluster here, but also, any mitigation that we can do in this area in regard to planting more trees or shrubs, we'd certainly be open to.
So as we look at this one, we're not getting one, we're getting two, not really getting 3 or 4, right?
Right, so there's no stormwater mitigation required as part of this. It's just a concrete pad, essentially. So it's not, you're not getting a lot of TSS, suspended solids, or any other, materials that would be detrimental to the environment. There's no noxious or otherwise legally located materials in that particular area. Right now, it's just a grass, it's like a lawn, grassed lawn area. So, I mean, there's nothing to remove, along that line.
But he's assuming your redevelopment, and it could be just as well new development, you still would do mitigation even under.
Right, so we're certainly going the mitigation route in all this. There's no, reduction of impervious surfaces, there's not really anything to reduce as far as impervious surfaces in that area. So, logical, improve, planting of,
Yeah, I thought,
Indigenous.
like not a high, but like a butterfly garden or something down in that corner, or something that's low, that would be nice, but I don't know. Something that's indigenous, up in that upper corner.
yeah. Or just, limit of mowing, just let the field.
Yeah, I got a feeling they're not gonna do that, because there hasn't been a history of that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a fight, but technically, you're not supposed to mow it, but I've always,
Yeah.
we have,
You can just formalize it and an
Yeah,
approval
we have-
letter.
well, DEP, I always thought you could maintain it if it was grass, but DEP tells me you're not supposed to.
So, we can go back to the letter, there's one more item. So number 4, the reviewer is aware of possible violations of the act by the removal of vegetation along Schoolhouse Brook. If unpermitted work did occur, the commission should require restoration of that area. For determining compliance with the riverfront redevelopment standards, the commission should require the information that is required for that review be submitted to them, such as total degraded area on the parcel that existed in 96, and then whether or not restoration and/or mitigation will be required for any unpermitted work or the new proposed work. At a minimum, proposed work shall result in an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area to protect the interests identified in MGL 13140, which is over and above any required restoration and/or mitigation. So that's, really harping on the improvement shall result in an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area to protect the interests identified. I think that's what, that's kind of the route that we've gone on here, is to show an improvement over existing conditions. And right now, we're showing these plantings, we're showing the mitigation for the work here with, revegetating with these trees along the property line. And if there's any additional plantings or improvements over existing conditions that would result, in along with more plantings along the in the riparian zone, that would be certainly something that we'd be open to.
How many trees were cut?
So Ryan went out there and he identified 8. They don't remove the stumps, so they cut them pretty flush to the ground. So he went out there, he identified 8 trees that were cut, so they were replacing those in, nearby where those were taken down. And those were done in coordination with DOT, so, they just didn't come here.
Nobody's seen the permit. Not in DOT.
So, which of the plantings are going to offset the cutting, and which are the ones that are going to offset the disturbed area?
The trees along the property line here are the ones that are mitigating for the trees that were taken down. And then these plantings up here were for the improvement over existing conditions.
2 trees and 5 shrubs?
I believe so. And also just elimination of mowing in that area.
Is there a line, like, so where would, yeah, where's the line where mowing stops?
It's pretty far back. It's like, it runs up, down along the tree line back here.
And what's the new proposed line?
It would be, well, as we determine now. If it's the 100-foot in a riparian, I mean, that takes you all the way to here, but I mean, so there's a sewer easement, and that's something that needs to be maintained. Whether, I'm not sure who the easement is in favor
I
of.
think it's the town, so.
So if this easement's in favor of the town, this has to stay open. You cannot.
Well, it should, whether we do maintain them, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it should.
Yeah, you can't just,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I'm sorry, man,
Melissa?
sorry.
I'm in favor of maybe doing some more additional smaller shrubbery, I don't know, if winterberry or blueberry or,
Okay.
but is that gonna impact where the sewer easement is and,
Well, they should probably do it off the easement, but,
Yeah, we should, like, right on the backside of the billboard down low, I think is a pretty logical location. Move these shrubs up out of the easement in this northeast corner, and then, and then extend that line to at least,
well, how about just do the whole thing?
the
right?
whole thing. Well, there's the cell towers I believe, is right here. It's right here.
No, it's right
That's a
there.
shadow,
That's way
sorry.
over
That's the shadow. So you still need access to that, so I'm not sure what
Yeah,
their
access is on the
access.
other side, actually, look at
Is
that plan,
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's right there.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
I'm not saying all the way over, I'm saying from, so from the north side of the billboard disturbance line or silt fence line, north. And low shrubs, not something that will interfere with the billboard.
right, yeah. And I think the billboard will be high enough that, any shrubbery would be good. You probably don't want to plant trees, but even then, looking at years and years from now.
Right.
Who
But yeah.
maintains the grass area for the sewer easement?
I think it's the property owner at the
Yeah,
moment.
I believe at the
Because
moment.
we don't do a very good job. I've talked to our DPW foreman, and he does want to start maintaining our easements better, but we haven't been doing that.
Is there a way to put shrubbery that doesn't impact the sewer easement area, that can act as a buffer so that the mowing is limited to only those areas?
You're thinking kind of like, think about what we did at the ICC, right?
Mhm.
We had the line, they naturalized everything in that field beyond the line, and then everything, and everything else is still a field.
Correct.
Right.
So something that could demarcate that. That particular project had a walkway and some other things that sort of essentially held that line, and it, if you were to
Right.
look at it today, you have this sort of wild natural space.
Yeah.
Wild natural space.
Yeah.
That it looks nice, and you still have some grass there.
And that's
So-
within an easement? That's within some sort of,
Not for the, the easement would be separate, but like I'm looking at this picture here, right? And if you look at where the inner riparian line goes,
it's right here.
right, you've sort of got a natural space there that, if that were to naturalize and reduce the amount of mowing, I mean, now if you've still got to go back and mow the
We could
space
mow,
behind it,
yeah, once a year. Or-
that's the thing, that the sewer easement doesn't need to be mowed, but probably, maybe May and October.
Yeah, or once even, it's just to keep the woody out.
Exactly, you're just trying to keep the woody stuff out.
Yeah, you're trying to keep the trees down, for sure. But that being said, it does get mowed, so if planting shrubs
So the
in the
question-
easement is gonna just give you obstacles
Well, the
during
question I
mowing.
have though is, well, it isn't being mowed by the city. The question I have is it your interpretation that in Riverfront that you can mow or not?
To maintain an existing condition. You
That's
can't,
what I
you can't
always thought, but they
create,
told me no, so
yeah,
that's,
that's the way I've always,
that's what, I'm
we've
with
always
you, but
interpreted.
I know, but DEP for some reason got on me about that one time and said, oh, you can't do it that way. It's, if it's riverfront, it can't be maintained. But I said, well, what's the difference? It's different habitat.
If it's being mowed now, we're not telling anybody to stop.
Yeah,
Now,
so
if
I
they'll
would
stop
say
because we do a
your
project,
compromise is then just have them, do some set aside that's not being mowed, that gives you more wildlife habitat, albeit low growing, and keep it low growing.
I just feel, yeah,
For a
that
portion.
30, the easement kind of just
It's gonna stay
makes it
back.
difficult, it makes it difficult to
could
maintain
be
sort
a
of a natural
wildflower
vegetative
mix.
buffer, because you want a continuous
So
buffer.
how long, I mean, I see 20 foot going
20 foot down.
Is this the site visit? Yeah?
There's a 20-foot here, and then there's a 30-foot here.
Right, but then that's going north-south. East-west, how wide does that have to be?
What does what have to be?
The sewer oh, okay, I see, the sewer easement is 20
20
feet
feet.
the whole
20
length.
feet
Yeah.
on that
But
length.
30 on the other
and
side.
30 on the other side.
Yes.
Got it,
Yeah.
sorry, I misread.
Well, so you guys have some other permits you're dealing with, right?
Well, there's.
Or are we a hang up to you pursuing other things?
No, I think that there are other permits associated with the billboard that need to be hashed out from a state level, not necessarily the local level. But,
Well, I mean-
listening to Mark, he sounds like that Allison is going to want to go back to planning for an amendment for the
Yeah,
location.
I don't know that if it was big, it's just the fact that you are moving it, so it requires an
Yeah.
amendment.
So, I mean, Melissa, do you want to walk the site?
That'll give you a good idea. I mean, we could get a more robust plan.
We do a site visit. I mean, there seems to be a lot of green area here. And like one thing that I know would be valuable to the commission is like, so the plantings are nice, but is there some space that could be allowed to naturalize? Meadows are, they're not abundant, but they are an important natural resource. And so you've got one here that could be valuable. I mean, we might even be able to come up with something where, all that lawn area does get some maintenance, but maybe it is more sporadic, where it's, mowed once or twice a year to prevent, trees and other things coming up, because that helps with the sewer easement situation, but that might be worth considering. I mean, if we could walk the site, and if whoever's got the property could be a part of that, and we could
Yeah.
have that conversation, maybe we can come up with something that works for them. And, because I also want to make sure we can come up with any idea we want, and, you can say
Yeah,
yes
you
to
can-
it,
you can
but
see
you
it
don't
in
own the
person,
property, and
yeah.
you're not going to be there dealing with it and maintaining it for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've drafted a order. I don't think that this
Yeah.
is a big deal. It's just that we'd like to see some
Yeah, if anything,
mitigation.
obviously there's a billboard going in, but anything you do over here would be an improvement, because right now this is just a
Right.
grass field that's being mowed
Right.
down to lawn.
And I don't know if you remember, but the neighbor to the north had done some restoration planting
Yeah, so up
because
here,
he had issues, so.
yeah, so there's, there's building, this is a very, obviously, as you know, Interstate Drive is a very industrially
Yeah,
built area,
Industrial park.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see huge issues here. It's just, coming up with a plan that everybody can live with, so maybe a site
Long-term.
visit, long-term, and then,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of room to play with out there.
okay,
That could be beneficial to
I mean,
wildlife,
yeah,
and it wouldn't be vertically interfering.
right. I mean, the property owner is obviously trying to make improvements, lease out a billboard here, and gain some economic value. And
Yeah,
I
good
don't
trade.
think. Yeah, I think we could talk through some stuff and maybe come up with something that works for everybody. And if we're not going to hold you up by having that site walk and conversation, it might, long term be beneficial, right? We've got some tree cutting that we probably wouldn't have wanted if we'd known about it in the first place, and so sometimes it's nice to have the discussion, say, hey, what do you think about this? If he agrees, Or if they agree, we can put that into our plan, and if not, maybe we can come up with a compromise.
Okay. Understood. So do you want to schedule that site visit right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Melissa, do you have any times, areas that particular to here?
I don't know, I was gonna say the 3rd. Because if we're trying to do it
Friday
before
the
the
3rd?
meeting on the 8th.
So the next meeting would be the 8th, right?
I think that's what I
Correct.
saw. Listening to
Is there anything date that works better for anybody else?
Yeah, it looks like the 8th is the next one.
The 3rd works if we could.
I prefer early.
I prefer late. So my morning is pretty
Okay, then that's fine, we can do late.
busy. I could do I could do like I could do 8 or like 7:30 or 8 in the morning. But from 8:30 on I'm tied up.
Well, that's early.
We can do seven,
Morning.
7:30.
7:30 is fine.
6:30 now?
7:30 or the afternoon is open too, so I could do 2:30 onward would be fine if we want to do Friday afternoon.
Is that Labor Day weekend? Is anybody going anywhere?
That's heading into Labor Day weekend.
Well, then why don't we do it?
Danny's like, I got plans on Labor Day. You guys can walk this place yourself.
You're not going anywhere.
Okay. Why
Can
don't
we
we
do 7:30?
why don't we plan for 7:30?
7:30. All right, I'm doing
On
3rd.
which day?
3rd?
This
that
is
correct?
September 3rd.
7:30 a.m., September 3rd.
Yep. And it's 120. 120, that's interstate, right?
Yeah, 120 Interstate. The owner will save on mowing.
That we're trying to cut his costs. That's what we're trying to do here.
It's funny, front tree belt's not mowed, it's a ticket. Tell me the back tree.
Oh, we like
Yeah.
wildlife. That's the difference.
And we said 7:30, right?
Yeah.
All right, it's in the calendar. All right, so we can continue this to our meeting on, pardon me, September 8th, pending site walk results.
Right.
So
Right.
let's just do a voice vote to continue. So can I have a motion to continue?
I motion to continue the hearing.
Is there a second?
I
Sec-
second.
Judy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll continue to the 8th, and we'll do a sidewalk on the 3rd. Okay.
All right, so then we can take the other thing up.
All right, so now we need to pick up 198. 330. So this is request for certificate of compliance for order for 3300198. Order issued at Cellco Partnership for erecting a cell tower at 120 Interstate Drive. Request made by Maverick Media LLC. So we've got to finalize the cell tower order here before we start the new project. What's the situation here, Mark? Are we good? We happy?
Yeah, I walked through it. I mean, it wasn't like there were a lot of conditions. The only continuing condition, I think it was that 8, which is basically a generic, wetland condition. And that was it. I looked hard and fast to find something. I had the plan, I looked. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And what's there is there.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say is I'd like the landowner to not act before and to remember that he needs to
He's
contact
in
us.
jurisdiction.
He seems to do that a lot, but
Okay.
whatever.
I'll get the message across.
Yeah, that would be nice. But other than that, I think I've got it here prepared for you to sign it.
Okay, commissioners, any questions? Agents comfortable? All right, then I'd be looking for a motion to issue an order of compliance for 3300355.
No, 3198.
I'm sorry, 3300198.
I move to issue a certificate of compliance for 3300198.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, voice vote is affirmative. All right. All right, so we'll sign the COC and move that one forward. We will visit 120 Interstate to keep the NOI going. Do we have anything else here, or are we on to Bernie Ave?
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, on to Bernie Ave. This is 3300355. This is 100 Bernie Ave. Foley portion of work, embankment restoration and stream channel work, request made by Timothy and Sheila Foley for a certificate of compliance. Mark,
So
what do we got?
You may have seen the email. I don't think I sent it to everybody. But I looked at it today, and for the most part, it's in compliance. There's a few trees that had died that I think were in the Foley part of the plan. The problem, if you may recall, this is split between the city doing the head wall and the Foley's doing a bank restoration where, they took out sandbags that were put in years ago, and they were redirecting the channel and stuff like that. But one of the things that we had made a real strong point was that there were roof leaders that ran under the former patio, that those pipes would be removed. Well, they weren't removed. And there's another pipe that comes under the driveway that we suggested that it go down to the stream so that, well, that wasn't extended either, but so I said to the consultant, I could ask the commission if they want to go look at it and suggest something, or if they want to issue a parcel for the Foley's, subject to, getting some of these things resolved. But I don't know, since you're out on the 3rd, maybe you could swing by there and take a look.
I'm open to that.
Did they seem like they were going to work something out either way?
Well, they want to be able to maintain it under the order, so there's, in the plan, original plan, there's a maintenance, to make sure it doesn't erode and things like that. But you know how things are, some people, it gets away from them. Currently, Mr. Foley has a disability, so it's very difficult for him to even do the minimum maintenance. My guess is a new owner might be more aggressive, so we want to be clear about this. So I'm wondering if we can continue this to the 8th as well.
I move to continue 3300355 100 Bernie Avenue.
Certificate of compliance request.
And Danny, was that a second?
Yep.
All right, well, let's do a voice
For
vote.
this-
All in favor of
Aye.
continuing?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, unanimous voice vote. We'll move that one to our next meeting and try and stop by and check this property out in the meantime.
So then, the only thing you've got is the Ross on Belknap. We had an informal discussion with him, with the members here, and it was agreed to informally extend to ratify the enforcement order with the change of allowing him to get us a restoration plan by, what did we say?
22nd.
22nd of September.
All right, so he just needed some more time?
Yeah, he's been trying to contact Heather Comey. If that doesn't work, he's going to try some others, but we talked about things that he needed to avoid. I think he was confused on what's a wetland, what's not a wetland, but having a consultant will be helpful.
Okay. All right, so that was taken care of, and you didn't need me. Thanks for being able to keep the people's business moving.
So you just need to vote on it, that's all. So you need to vote to ratify the enforcement order, because it gets signed provisionally by 2 members, or 1 member, right? So if you vote to ratify, so I need a motion to ratify the enforcement order for Belknap Ave against Mr. Ross, with the amendment that it's the timeline for compliance with the order is extended to the 22nd of September.
Got it.
Is
So
that
we're
correct?
good, that way we're officially issuing enforcement.
You're officially issuing
And we're
the
amending the
enforcement
date
order.
of the deadline.
Right.
I move to ratify the enforcement order against Mr. Ross off of Belknap Avenue, and extended the timeline to September 22nd to come up with a plan.
Great.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, so that was a unanimous on the enforcement.
Right.
Other business.
So the other business was, we handled it.
That's done.
Done.
That's old news.
Old news.
All set?
You're done.
I'm glad you guys made some progress without me. I'm sorry I made you
Well,
all
we
wait.
just, I rambled on.
Can we close the meeting?
That's fine. All right, in that case, then we're done. Yes? I think we're done. All right, well, that concludes the conservation meeting here at 7:15. Thanks, everybody, for joining.